A few of you have asked about my diet, what I eat in order to stay lean and keep capably strong at over 65. And the truth is I don't follow a diet with a specific name, and I sure don't endlessly track calories and macros. I mean, I have a life. So what I do is I use a system. It's a template-based system. And I've used this template-based system for years with a lot of success. It's very simple, it's flexible. Here's what it looks like. There's a lot of information on the internet about nutrition, and a lot of it's conflicting. I mean, you have veganism on one hand to pure carnivore on the other. It's hard to know what to do. A lot of these approaches, they can work. Different approaches work for different people. The thing is, nothing works if you can't stick to it. So I don't think the problem's information. We've got tons of information. The problem is really complication, because humans overcomplicate things. If something is stupid easy, you won't quit. And consistency ultimately leads to results. My approach isn't extreme, and it doesn't have a cult following. It's basically a lot of old-fashioned common sense. It's eat real food and don't eat too much. That's very important, I think, especially in midlife and beyond. You want to stay lean. And then within your portions, prioritize protein. So I've just built a system around that so I don't have to think too hard about it. It's automatic. Every meal I eat follows the same basic structure. There are three components. First, there's protein. So that's about 6 ounces of meat, like beef or chicken, pork, fish, eggs. And that's the anchor. Everything else gets built around it. Next, there's vegetables, about 4 to 6 ounces. And I keep it simple and green. So things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, spinach, even canned green beans. But mostly I do frozen. Everything is easy and always on hand. Third, I want a bit of starch. Same rough portion. White potatoes, I do sweet potatoes, I do white rice, real food, and nothing is complicated. 3 basic choices. Three meals a day. Same structure every time. I do have some snacks depending on my activity levels, but basically my meals are protein, vegetable, and starch. Simple choices, that's it. Now look, I'm not obsessive about the portions. Believe me, I'm not weighing everything to the gram every day, but I know roughly what 6 ounces of protein looks like on my plate. And I built that awareness by portioning things out during prep. You kind of get a feel for it. You don't want to turn every meal into a math problem. Once or twice a week, I do a big prep session. It doesn't take too long, a few hours, but it really sets me up for success for the whole week. So I cook a bunch of protein, a few pounds at least, and it could be, chicken on the barbecue or the air fryer, or beef on the stove, or pork on the grill. I season it, cook it, cool it, and portion it out into 6-ounce servings. And at the same time I'm boiling potatoes, I'm putting sweet potatoes in the oven, and I'll have a rice cooker running. So I try and get all 3 starches ready at the same time. And some of those portioned meals, they go straight into the fridge for the next day or two, but the rest get vacuum packed. For me, this is what works. The freezer is really my whole system. Any time of day, After training or whenever I get stuck, I can just open my freezer and grab some protein, grab a handful of broccoli or Brussels sprouts, and maybe add some rice or potatoes, and I've got a complete meal. I heat mine up boil and bag style, so I just throw mine in some cold water in a pot and bring it to a boil. It's ready in about 5 minutes. No decisions, no excuses. Breakfast may look a bit different, but it really follows the same template just with breakfast foods. Protein's still my anchor, and I'll do usually 3 eggs, and I might have a couple of strips of good bacon or some ham, because that's roughly 6 ounces of protein combined. Instead of a traditional vegetable, I'll add a spoonful of local sauerkraut or Korean kimchi. That's like a spicy fermented cabbage. But these are fermented foods, and they take literally 2 seconds to add to a plate, but they do real work for gut health and digestion. And that matters more than most people realize, especially as you get older. At breakfast, I might have some fruit instead of a starch. So that might be a cut up apple or a few handfuls of berries, whatever's easy. Some mornings I'll do the alternate version. Steel cut oats, I cook those in my very Japanese rice cooker. When the oats are cooked, I might add a little bit of Greek yogurt, stirring that in. Sometimes I add a bit of whey protein powder, but it's the same template, it's just a different look. I can add berries, these are local blueberries, and if I want some extra calories, I'll put in a little bit of honey or maple syrup. Either way, breakfast isn't complicated. It doesn't take long to make. Now, I don't eat the minute I get up. I like to wait a few hours, but this first meal really sets the tone for the whole day. If I had to give one piece of diet advice, I would say don't overeat. I think it's particularly important for men in midlife and beyond to run in a slight caloric deficit. You don't want to do it too dramatically, just a little bit. You want to run a little bit lean. And then when you look at what you put on your plate, the emphasis should be on whole or minimally processed foods. And I don't obsess on this. I just think, if there's a scale of 1 to 10, and 1 is the worst junk food around, and 10 is pure, organic, grass-fed, I just want to go and eat a little bit more in that direction. I want to make sure I'm prioritizing protein on my plate, so I try and get at least 6 ounces every time I have a meal. And while I don't obsess about the calories, I will tell you that once or twice a year, I will log my meals for maybe 7 to 10 days. I want to make sure I'm not being delusional about what I eat and my portions are adequate and that my calories are on track. That way I can make any adjustments. Things should be simple. Things should be flexible. Now, I'm not telling you how to eat. There's lots of diets out there, there's lots of approaches to nutrition, and a lot of them work if you're consistent. And I'm certainly not expecting anyone to go out and buy a vacuum sealer and start vacuum packing their food and putting in the freezer. That's just what I do. For me, it works. But I am telling you to consider the template-based system because it's simple and because it's flexible. A meal plan can tell you what to eat, but a template teaches you how to think. So I stopped planning, I started assembling, and I haven't looked back since. If this content resonated with you in any way, or if it helped you, consider subscribing or dropping a comment below. I appreciate all the support.